name's Jake.
Hi, Jake.
Thanks, Danny. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. I'm grateful to be clean. I'm grateful to be in my home group. Not sure if you all knew that I was sharing tonight, but if you didn't, then I'm sorry. If you did, then I'm glad you came. Just to kind of bounce off of that, it really has been a joy to get to know a lot of you. I remember, like, my first exposure to Narcotics Anonymous, like, my earliest memories of it were, like, there were these friendships that just kind of, like, came into my life. I kind of was surrounded by people who cared about me, and I didn't even know them. But I kind of got thrust into this group of guys who just wanted to get to know me and wanted to be my friend. And we developed friendships that we developed friendships that I never ever had when I was using. I mean, if you guys are in this room, you know what it's like to have quote unquote friendships when you're using, you know. Those were never real friendships, and I even remember back before I was using, the friendships I had were they were like, they weren't fulfilling, you know. I remember whenever it was me and my buddy who lived right down the road from me hanging out, we were always it was always really cool when it was just me and him. Like everything was peachy, you know. We got along, but then when there was a third person that came into the friendship, it's like I became the runt and I got picked on, and it impacted me a lot. And I remember telling the guys, look, how come there's this dynamic of when it's just me and you, or just me and you, everything's cool, but whenever it's the three of us, you know, I get shit punched out of me, man, like for no reason. Teenage boys don't understand that kind of dialogue, though. It was just like, punked you again for that. So the friendships that I've developed in Narcotics Anonymous are nothing like that. They're warm, they're embracing, they're open, and they're intimate. So if you're new, welcome. If you got punched and beat up as a kid too, welcome. I'm glad you're here. We're glad you're here, and keep coming back. If I don't know you, I want to know you. There's someone, and if I don't want to know you, there's someone in the room who does. You know. That's been the story that's been the story of the whole time I've been here, is that to keep coming back. No one ever told me not to come to meetings. Everyone just wanted me to keep coming back no matter what. That's just been the nature of the game here, you know. Yeah, it ain't always pretty, but you know. So like the friendships I have today, like I might talk about that a lot, but that's just been such a central part of my recovery. There's something about developing relationships with people that keeps me here, you know. Like I've seen it, I've read it in our literature that love is the flow of life energy from one person to another, and like that sticks out to me. But like with me and Danny, like there's like we can call each other we call each other, and we've developed our own language that no one would understand in here. You know, like I don't know what that I don't there's something there. There's something. It's not something I can put words that I can describe with words, but there's something there, and there's something with the friendships that I've cultivated in the rooms that is just, they're special. There's something about the relationships here that are special, you know. So I'm grateful for that. And the reason I say all that is like they say that, you know, we can only keep what we have if we give it away, and so it would be selfish of me to just just me and Danny. So, if you're new, reach out and get some numbers and, talk to me after the meeting. I'd love to get to know you if you're new and, you've never been to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting and you have no idea what's going on. I want to get to know you. My addiction story isn't like all that, it's not all that dramatic, I had a sponsor when I first started coming to meetings who he said that he's a garden variety addict. Some of you might remember him, some of you might not, but that's me. I'm a garden variety addict, I've been clean since November 8th of 2021, right? 22, we're in 22 now. So I've been clean for a little over a year now. And it's not my first time getting clean. I'm not a one white key tagger. So that's been an important part of my story, that I'm not a one white key tagger, and that's okay. So I first started coming to rooms in 2011, and I went through a lot of picking up a white key tag and getting clean for like 18 hours, and then using, and then picking up a white key tag again, and just like literally like I would go in a 1 week span, I would get a couple key tags and get a high a couple times, and just I couldn't stay clean. And it took a lot, and so never did anyone say, like, shame me or anything like that. That never happened. Everyone just always said, keep coming back. We're glad you're here. And we continued on with the relationship. And like, it never, I don't know, they told me just to be honest about it if I use, not to hide that. And that's been kind of like the foundation of my recovery, is just being honest about things. Even when I'm up like I am right now, and I might tell you guys about that later. Like just to be honest about it. So like when I would use, I would just tell someone immediately, hey, I used. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. So I would just keep coming to meetings. I would just keep coming back no matter what. I would just keep picking up white key tags. So, if you've been coming around for a week or a day or whatever, and you've used, I hope you don't feel like you can't tell us that, because like we're a room full of addicts. That's what happens, It's if I got shamed for using, I wouldn't have kept coming back. I just wouldn't have, So, it took a lot of picking up key tags and using and picking up key tags and using and being honest until I finally got a little bit of traction, And I was able to stay clean for like 5 years at one point. And I was able to stay clean for like 2 years at one point, and a year at one point, and this is like the third time I've had a year clean. Some of the people I got clean with have over a decade now. And I don't know, clean time doesn't equal recovery, but they're doing something I wasn't. I don't know. So something that's always troubled me in the rooms is like, not nervous at all.
Oh no.
Like I struggle with like the disease of addiction, right? It's not just my drug use. Drug use is a symptom of my disease, but it's the most deadly. But I also struggle with pornography and masturbation, and it's just been such a huge part of my story that it's hard for me to share. It's hard for me to share my story and not talk about it. So, and like if I hear a lot of people come into meetings and they share about food, or they'll share about gambling or whatever it is, and like that's okay to talk about, but like talk about pornography and masturbation, it's like this shameful thing that's like it's hard to talk about, and it's like, so I don't want to be ashamed. I'm personally not ashamed of that, but I'm afraid of like what other people have, like the feelings that other people might What I might get from that? Well, so I have this, I'm not trying to be too complicated here, but I have this belief, and the belief may be real, it may not be real, I'm not sure. But like, I have this belief that if I'm not clean from drugs and like my sex addiction, then like I'm doomed to relapse, right? I believe that. Like, I absolutely believe that, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe it. Like, if you look at my step work, that's what my step work says. I'm not sure how true that is, but my sponsor says it's not true. Don't know how much I believe them, but I trust them. So I remember like being clean for, however so long, and like trying to do this thing where like, okay, I can participate in my sex addiction and engage in the higher power and recovery and meetings, stuff like that, but that didn't really work. So I don't know what's going on there, and I don't know if this is something that's better suited for therapy or, I don't know, but it affects me, guys. It affects me. It has a dramatic impact on my state of me. That's been a part of my story, and I don't, like I said, I can't come into meetings, and I can't share openly without mentioning that. I would water down my story. I would dampen my story. So, if I could, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background about like, a little bit more about like where I come from. Like, I had a pretty normal childhood, and most of my feelings from my childhood and adolescence are, I think they're blocked out because I don't remember many feelings from my life growing up. What I do remember is always feeling inadequate. That has been since I was a kid until now. I always feel inadequate, like I'm not enough in so many different areas of my life. I feel inadequate, and I feel inadequate sharing with you guys, and I feel inadequate. I feel inadequate at work, like I'm not good enough there. And if I were to get into a relationship, I feel inadequate there. I'm not good enough. So, it was really hard for me to accept that I was an addict because I always looked at the type of drugs that I used. And all I knew was that, like, my life was in shambles and I wanted to get better. But I thought, like, I can't go to NA because, like, well, they use this type of drug and this type of drug and this type of drug, and the drugs they use are way worse than the types of drugs that I use. The types of drug that I use grow in the ground, and it did progress. It did progress, but even if it didn't progress, like, my using was bad enough, So I work in a career where, like, I get drug tested regularly. So this last year and a half, like before I got clean, like I'd been using on the job for like 3 years, and I wasn't using anything that would pop positive on a drug test. I was using an over-the-counter medication. Like, I was using Benadryl, a lot of it, right? And I mean a lot of it. So here's what I can relate to. I can relate to looking at a quantity of drugs in my hand and saying, this can probably kill me. Like, everything online says this could probably kill me, but I just want to get high anyways. I just want to take it anyways. I can relate to that. I can't relate to I can't relate to a lot of people on type of drug, but I can relate to, screw it. I know this could kill me. I'm going to take it anyways because I just want to feel different. So I'm just glad to not be using, I don't care what it was that I was using. I'm just glad to not be using. So I was on the job, right? And I've been at this particular job for like 7 years, and for like 3 years straight I was using, and I was putting myself and I was putting other people in danger for years on end, and I wasn't popping positive for a drug test because I wasn't taking any drugs that could be detected. Everyone was like, something's off with this guy though, man. Something isn't right. And I finally one day I went to my boss and I'm like, hey, listen, man, y'all are right. Something ain't right. I need help. I need help, and I'm coming out with it. Look, I need to get off the truck. I'm using. I can't stay clean. I am a danger to everyone on this job right now. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if you're gonna fire me. I don't know if I don't. Look, do something, all right? So they hooked me up with our safety officer, right? And they sent me to. So I can't tell a story without. So I'm a firefighter, right? And they sent me to this rehab in Maryland for firefighters, and like it was called. People tease me about this. It was called the Center of Excellence, right? And it was during COVID, so we couldn't have H&I going on there because of COVID. So we have a freaking 40 firemen in here trying to run a 12-step meeting, and let me tell you guys, it's bonkers. It got bonkers. Like, forget 40 firemen. 40 people who've never been to an AA meeting or an NA meeting don't know how to run an AA or an NA meeting. Like, I mean, it's just like one person would start sharing and talking about something, and then like you would get up and come sit next to me and put your arm around me, and then someone else would kind of interrupt me and start sharing directly at me. And then like everyone would just huddle around like, it's okay, brother. And I would just sit in the back like, take it, take it. Right? Because I know, right? I know how to recover, right? You know? God, I can't stop using, but let me tell you, I got this. So it was the first rehab I'd ever been to. You know, like I said, I had used everything before that, and spent a lot of time in meetings. So this is the first rehab I'd ever been to, and I was just grateful to be. I was just grateful. I know I was in Maryland and it was cold, and I had no idea what to pack because I was high when I packed, and I didn't really know what was going on. But like I was just glad to not be using for a little bit, right? And yeah, so. I've been clean since I went there, and I don't know. The other thing? Here's what I want to tell you. Here's what I want to tell you guys, because like, let me get vulnerable with you guys for a minute. I'm not saying that I haven't already, but like, of the years that I've been clean, right? I would say this year has absolutely been the best year of ever. Like all the years, whatever, this has been the best year. And I'm struggling, guys. I'm struggling. You know, I made some decisions to participate in my sex addiction that has put me in a lot of pain. And I've tried going to different fellowships for that. Not sure if that's the right way. Not sure if therapy's the right way. Not sure if this is the right way. Here's what I know though, and here's what I've read. This is why I'm sharing this with you guys, because I've read in our literature, like, so our symbol, I don't know if you've seen our symbol, but there's a circle. And that circle, it says in our basic text that it represents a total and universal program with room for all manifestations of the recovering person. So like, that's why I feel comfortable sharing about this kind of stuff with you guys in meetings. And if you've read through our literature, there's a lot that really points that we treat the disease of addiction here, and so guys, I'm struggling. You know, I'm barely hanging on right now, and the idea of just being grateful that I'm clean, it's a challenge. It's a challenge right now because I want to be free from my other obsessions too. So just for today, I'm not going to use drugs. I'm not going to get high. Everything in me says that's not enough. Like I said, I struggle with feelings of inadequacy. But just for today, I'm not going to get high. And I need all of your help. Like, we do this together. And I know I tend to like separate myself a lot because of the types of drugs I used, or, you know, because, you know, I have the sex addiction. You guys don't. At least I say that, you know. Like, I think I'm the only one, right? You know, my sponsor told me I have stripes. You know, so I think I have stripes. So, I'm just grateful to be part of this fellowship tonight, and I think that's all I've got. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you.